Hello, everybody, and welcome. We've got an impromptu Monday show. We can't get rid of each other, the three of us at the minute. We're on left, right, and centre. We've got Jay's Fight Talk and Liam Tully with me. How are we, boys?
Oh, good, man.
Good stuff.
Good,
We've got
mate.
the
Always good
return
to
of
see you,
Liam
boys.
after the exit on the stream at the weekend. But how are we feeling, mate? We better?
Yeah, much better, mate. Sorry about that, boys. Didn't like ducking out, but it needed to be done.
It's all good. We
No,
got to
mate,
do what we got to do, mate.
It needs to be done. But yeah, the purpose of this one, obviously, we don't have too many weigh-ins for big world championship boxing on a Monday. But it happened today. We get a lot of these Japanese shows that happen midweek. So we've got Naoya Inoue defending his Super Bantamweight Championships against the Irishman TJ Doheny. It's happening from Japan around about, I believe, midday. Should be 11:30 to midday, I believe, are the ring walks for the main event. Just before we kick into this one, Jay's Fight Talk is hosting a watch-along, I believe, with the two of these guys tomorrow. So make sure you clock into that. I'm sure details will follow, Jay, will they?
Yeah, we'll put a tweet out either later on this evening or first thing in the morning. But myself and Liam are going to watch the fight, do a live watch-along. We're both intrigued by the fight, as everybody else is. And, you know, we'll be live and direct. Unfortunately, not from Japan. Liam's somewhere down south, and I'll be in Lincolnshire somewhere, sat in my van. But yeah, we're doing a watch along.
Oh wow!
We'll be there in spirit, mate. We'll be there in spirit.
It's all glitz and glamour over here. All glitz and glamour, boys.
Absolutely. Thanks to those that are with us. We have a couple on with us already, so thank you for joining us, guys. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of it now. So Naoya Inoue defending his belts against TJ Doheny. It's come under a little bit of scrutiny, in my mind, unfairly for this. His strength of schedule at 122 pounds have been nothing short of sensational. Knocking Luis Neri out last time, beat Marlon Tapales to become undisputed. He fought Stephen Fulton to pick up the belts at 122 pounds. He's fighting the who's who at 122 since he's been there. Naoya Inoue versus the other two, Usyk and Terence Crawford, who are most people's consensus top 3 pound for pound fighters right now. The difference with him and the other two, he's fighting I think this will be, if he fights it's all but confirmed he's fighting in December. It'll be his fourth fight in just over a year, which is absolutely insane with the fighters he's fighting. Doheny's got 3 knockouts in a row, Jay, in Japan. So, you know, he's not going to be a pushover, but yeah, what's your assessment on the fight? Just before we get in, Jabbit has joined us. Big up, Jabs. Thanks for coming in, mate.
See you, mate.
Yeah, I mean, we briefly touched on it, didn't we, a week or so ago, and I was not dismissive of Doheny. Dismissive is probably a strong word, but I was sort of underwhelmed by the expectation because of some of the people that have beaten him. But being in and around boxing most of my life, I've seen the improvements in people, and you know, you've seen it yourself where people have been sort of not given a chance. And they've won rematches, or they've gone in as, you know, massive underdogs and pulled off shocks. Now, I thought that as he does with most people, that Inoue would just sort of coast for 2 or 3 rounds and then step on the gas and sort of blast Doheny out of there. And then I watched the weigh-in, and I don't know, something. I mean, yeah, something. I don't know. But I'm gonna stick with my original prediction of a stoppage sort of between 5 and 7, but I would not be surprised if there is a shock on the cards tomorrow, and I don't know why. I just saw something in Inoue. He never normally breaks focus in a way, and he's normally very stoic and, you know, very focused, and he sort of looks through his opponent. He's a very emotionless guy anyway. You very rarely see him smiling, laughing, screaming, shouting. He's just very stoic. But during the weigh-in, he sort of broke his focus for a split second. It was when Doheny sort of puffed his chest out and stepped to him, and he smiled. But it wasn't a smile as though, who do you think you are? It was more of it was a comedic moment between the two, and they sort of had a sort of warm handshake. And I thought for a split second, if Doheny's made him drop his guard, he'll stick it on him, you know, and we might see another knockdown, maybe like the Neri fight, which good luck Doheny after sort of pissing him off, because we all know what happened there. Yeah, so for me, I think we see a fifth, between rounds 5 and 7, stoppage for Inoue, a little bit dicey for the first couple of rounds. He'll find his rhythm, and then he should, in theory, be able to take over, put it on him, and get him out of there.
Yeah, just before I go to you, Liam, we've got DJ Patch joined us. Thank you very much for that. Pat, Inoue before round 5 on KO. Here's levels between the two. I completely agree with that. We've got Martina Clarkson as well. What's Doheny's best chance to win? Will he need to start fast and look to drop Inoue like Neri did last time out? Yeah, I would say Inoue's shown no weakness really so far, has he? Bar that was the first KO knockdown in his career. Was to Luis Neri in the last fight, and like Jay said, it wound him up, and he went and absolutely battered Luis Neri after that. So it turned out not to be great for Neri, but realistically, he caught him cold, didn't he? It was the first round. Inoue was probably just feeling him out, having a look, probably wasn't expecting too much, and Luis Neri he caught him cold. You know, for me, Doheny, if he's got a death wish, really, if he goes and tries to stick it on Naoya Inoue from the first bell, Inoue will be switched on. I think he's one of those guys as well. Like, he's not really going to feel TJ Doheny out at all. If he smells blood, you know, he's not paid by the hour. Naoya Inoue, he will go for the kill if he gets an opportunity. I think Doheny will box maybe similar tactics to what Paul Butler did when he took Inoue 10 or 11 rounds. I don't think it'll be safety first-ish. You know, we'll see how much ambition TJ Doheny has within the first couple of rounds. We'll be able to see, really, because Doheny can crack too. He's 20 KOs in 26 wins, and he's never been stopped, so he's tough and he can hit. But, you know, I'll come to you now, Liam, for your thoughts on it. Hawkan's joined us. Big up Hawkan. He's got Inoue winning in 4 rounds. Liam, Tully, how do you see things panning out?
Similar to Jay, so I woke up this morning, had a look at the weigh-in, and one of the first times an Inoue weigh-in surprised me because, like you say, his normal steely focus that we see from him, it was there, but it wasn't there to the same extent we always see.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not for 1 second one of those people that thinks a fight can make a massive difference to a fight, unless we have seen it happen, but I don't think that's going to be the case tomorrow. What I will say is a lot of people have criticised this fight. A lot of people have said, why is Inoue taking it? Why isn't he holding out for bigger and better things? And if he has overlooked it at all, if he has been told by Top Rank or a governing body, you have to take this fight, or what you want to look to do further down the line, we're going to put roadblocks in your way. So he's gone, right, okay, I need to get out against Doheny. Maybe he did want to wait out to the end of the year. I do think that Doheny needs to come out and set a pace. Not to say that Inoue can't live with a pace he'll set, not to say that that's his key to win. But if he sits out, covers up, and decides to stay on the back foot, he will just get picks off and picks apart. He needs to come out, set a pace, and see what happens. He comes out, sets the pace, he might get stopped in 3 rounds. He comes out on the back foot, and it's 8, 9, 10 rounds. But he needs to go out swinging. Yeah, he gets stopped regardless.
Yeah, like I said, I think the only chance for him really is to try smother Inoue's work and just try and make it. We saw with Naoya Inoue, who's one of the fastest, slickest boxers of his generation, under sort of 140 pounds, made a dogfight out of it, cut him, and once he made it into a dogfight, you could see that Inoue sucked it up and gave as good as he got, but he was very uncomfortable in that fight. He was looking to his corner. He was a lot more animated in his corner, more so than I've ever seen him before.
That was the first test he had, wasn't it, Jay? The first one, obviously, battered Doheny in the second fight, but the first Doheny fight was a real gut check.
And because Doheny's a puncher, I think if he tries smothers his work, because a lot of opponents will get sort of hit with a hard shot from Inoue and sort of shell up, and they're worried about what's coming back. Obviously, you've got to be worried to a certain extent about what's coming back. You can't just go gung-ho and leave your chin in the air. But I think if he smothers him, stays on top of him, doesn't give him the opportunity to find the range and the distance to put combinations together, then there's a chance he could make it a little bit more of a dogfight. And then we will see if he has got, because if he has overlooked him and taken his eye off the ball, and then he's got to try dig deep. If he tries to dig deep, he might not have it there, because if he's expecting to blast him out in 2 or 3 rounds and he's still there after 5 or 6, but he's been made to work and go backwards, we could see a more of an interesting fight. So I think for me, Doheny has got to go out there and establish himself immediately. Or as Liam said, it's the inevitability is the stoppage. It's just if he tucks up and hides from him, it's just how long can he do that for? And
Yeah.
he's just prolonging the inevitable. So he might as well sort of not go out on his shield and just throw caution to the wind, but he's got to put it on him. He's got to put it on him from the very first round.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, Liam, just come to a couple of comments, mate, before you. I'm going to get your take on this too. Sorry, I'll come to Jabs, his first bang on, lads. Big up, Jabs. Thank you, mate, for tuning in as always. DJ Pat, we're going to come to this one next, Liam. I want your thoughts. So Pat said it should have been Akhmadaliev, MJ, as he's more widely known.
Fight. But that's the next fight, I think.
I don't think it is, Jay. I think he's going to fight Sam Goodman in December. So the backstory to this, as far as I know, and don't quote me on this, is that Turkey Al Sheikh wanted Inoue versus MJ or Akhmadaliev on the Wembley card that's happening on September the 21st. Inoue didn't want to leave Japan. MJ wanted to fight under the Saudi banner. I believe that was, and there was WBA kind of, I think he was mandatory, or there was some kind of WBA politics in the way. Anyway, it didn't happen for whatever reason. But then Inoue has gone and took the TJ Doheny fight, obviously. But then his IBF mandatory, I believe, is Sam Goodman, who has a victory over TJ Doheny himself, who it's all but looking like he's going to fight in December now. And then it's the case of whether he goes to 126 or does he fight Akhmadaliev? Does he fight him next year? I don't know. If it seems like there's been a few bridges burned in regards to the MJ fight, but MJ's only lost to Marlon Tapales, who obviously Inoue beat for the undisputed honors at 122 pounds. And Tapales gave Inoue a fight. He's a tough man. And MJ didn't look himself that night. He really didn't. MJ's a very good boxer. He didn't. I don't know whether there was something off with him, if he had an injury, if he was sick or something. But he didn't look himself in that fight against Marlon Tapales for me. So I guess the question is, Liam, just off what Pat said. Any thoughts on Murjan Akhmadaliev and being in there over Doheny?
I think the point is in what you said, mate. Turkey wanted to put it on at Wembley. Inoue, as he's banging his rights to do, because of how much money he makes in Japan, because he is a massive draw, so much so that Top Rank are funding him to fight in Japan, and Bob is flying out there, fight after fight, to be there ringside in Japan and not bringing him over to America. He's one of those few fighters that doesn't need to come into the Turkey world.
Yeah, doesn't need it.
So he's well within his rights. It wasn't a massive unification fight. It wasn't a massive legacy fight. Yeah. This was one of his mandatory challenges. So he's well within his rights to say, no, actually, I'm quite happy. I'm going to stay here. Doheny has a solid records, but isn't someone that makes you go, oh, bloody hell. Yeah, that's an interesting fight. I can see Inoue being in all sorts of trouble. So it's just one of those examples for me of Turkey has dangled a carrot in front of a fighter's face, and for a change, they haven't jumped and said, yes.
Similar to Canelo, isn't it? Similar to the Canelo situation for me, Liam. I think you bang on there. Just to, Liam, I'll stay with you on this one. Hawkant said about Sam Goodman is mandatory. I believe he's IBF. Is either IBF or WBO mandatory for Inoue.
I think he's IBF.
He was ringside at Neary, but then he fought a state active fight in Wollongong in Australia. He did. And he didn't look great at all, if I'm being honest. I believe Inoue
against who, Sam? Who did
I'll leave that pronunciation for you, mate. Hawkant, if you can send me a voice note on how we're pronouncing that for next time, I'll
write it down phonetically for him. Let's see how he gets on.
I won't breeze past that one next time. But yes, I think all roads lead to Sam Goodman in December. Liam, I want to talk about Doheny's losses on his record. Every single one of his losses are pretty much well known. He lost his undefeated record to Daniel Roman, who was a unified champion at 122 pounds and a good fighter. I think he's fell off the face of the earth a little bit now, to be honest. Beluta, who Dennis McCann just outboxed really nicely recently, he's got a defeat to him. Mick Conlan, again, another boxer. Who beat him fairly solidly on the cards, and then Sam Goodman, who we spoke about quite a bit before. So he lost all those fights by decision, but he hasn't lost to any. Even Michael Conlan. I know his last few fights his chin seems to have gone, and he hasn't looked his best, but his losses are to decent fight. Beluta's a good fighter too. Dennis McCann just looked great last time out.
Yeah. And this is where Doheny has earned his reputation of being good enough to go in with Inoue from. He can reach the top level, and he can perform at the top level, but when he has to make that next step to sort of world class, he's finding his ceiling. Now, okay, Belusi, you could say, what level's Belusi right now? Dennis McCann beat him by a shutout back in July. But regardless of that, Doheny isn't getting beaten by club-level fighters. He's making his way up to world level, and that's where he's falling short. And at the end of the day, that's not a bad place to be. How many fighters can say they can make it to world championship level consistently and challenge? If he's still in a shape now to be in this position and put in a challenge, then who's to say he doesn't deserve to be in there? He's well ranked with every single governing body, and it's the fight Inoue's chosen. And let's be honest, who's going to say no to fighting Inoue? It's similar to Canelo. When you get offered the dance with one of the biggest names in boxing, you say yes. You're an idiot if you say no. You would say yes all day long.
People don't talk about it enough. TJ Doheny's a former world champion. It's not, no one's really talking about it in leading into this, but he's a former, I think it was IBF he held.
Yeah, it's a bit, I don't like it. You know, people are dismissive of, I think it's a culture thing, isn't it? Everybody's hung up on undefeated records, and they see sort of 26-4 or whatever his record is, and they focus on the 4 defeats and who he's lost to, and you know, they don't look that people can improve, and he's a former world champion. What we also have to bear in mind is at 126 and below, the gap between domestic and world level is massive, and there are not many highly world elite. You know, the top 10, some of them guys are mid-30s and beyond. It's hard. You know, it's not overloaded. It's not like welterweight, lightweight, featherweight. So all the other divisions, you know, because there aren't that many men, and I don't mean this being patronising or dismissive, but there aren't many men 8 stone and below at 5'3" or 5'4" or 5'6". It's not. You'll find that most weight divisions come off the back of the average size of a man, you know, 5'8", 5'9", and then you're looking at 130, 135, 140, 147. So it's difficult to find anybody at elite level who knew he's boxed them all. He's lapping divisions as he has done previously. And Doheny, whatever anybody says, he's got 3 knockouts in his last fights. He's a former world champion, and he, other than Beluta, who you couldn't say is European level fighter, all the rest of them. Michael Conlan was one of the hottest prospects in boxing when he turned over, right?
Yep.
Who's on the comeback trail and could still potentially win titles. You know, he has got the skill set. He just come up against the likes of Lee Wood, you know, and Jordan Gill. But you know, when he boxed Jordan Gill, he was half out the door, wasn't he? Anyway.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he rushed back too quick after that. Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody that's dismissing Doheny, for me, you don't know boxing. Stick to watching Misfits because you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Just quickly, the Hawkins on about the Takai Higa fight on the undercard. Any interest in it for yourselves, boys? 2 big punches in there, obviously. I think, what's it, WBO Bantamweight Championship. I think Takai's only had, he's one of those guys.
This is his 10th fight. This is his 10th pro fight.
Yeah, what is it, his 9th or 10th fight, but he's won all of them bar one by, was it Maloney fought or something last time out? One of the Maloney.
Yeah. Maloney's the only one that's gone to decision, yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll knock him out. I think he'll win by KO, Hawkins, personally. I don't know about you, boys.
I think Higa will beat him, me.
You think?
Yeah, I think Higa will box his head off.
Good fight, that.
Oh, it's a 50-50, well, it's a 60-40 to attack it, really, based on record and you know.
Well, he's way more experienced, but you know, yeah, it should be. It's a sneaky good undercard, that actually.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by it. I'll be interested to see how it starts. I think we'll know after the first round. If Takai hurts him, I don't think there's any coming back because he's a concussive puncher. But on the flip side, Higa can bang too. You know, so I don't anticipate this going the full 12-round distance. I think we'll get a stoppage mid to late.
Yeah. So you talk about like, Hawkins got a Takai late stoppage coming. You look at that. That's another bantamweight title fight with Japanese representation. They're kind of dominating. You know, you got Junto Nakatani, who's in and around those weights as well. You have the other Inoue. His first name's beaten.
Like a bit of a resurgence, in it.
They're dominating those divisions.
Yeah, but I, you know, unfortunately for me, I'm significantly older than you, but I've got a lot of experience to draw from. And I remember when I was sort of in my teens, it was always the sort of the Panamanians, the Japanese that ran those lower weight divisions. It was always sort of featherweight down was South Americans. But it was always like Panamanians and Venezuelans that were sort of flyweight, super flyweight champions, bantamweight champions. And the Japanese have always had a good stock of champions in the lighter weight divisions. And I think it's having a bit of a resurgence. They seem to have sort of cornered the market, haven't they, in the smaller weight divisions of, as you say, the 3 or 4 sort of well-established champions, which is good for world boxing. I mean, it's a big market that we've sort of, the West have really struggled to break, you know, in MMA as well. They really struggled to break that market. It's a different type of viewership, as we can see. It's a Tuesday, what is it over there? Tuesday afternoon or something like that.
Well, Tuesday evening, it'll be in Japan. It will be when the fight's on there.
I've never been to anything other than an amateur boxing show on a Tuesday or weekday evening. I've never been to a pro show. It's not something, you know, we've always been Friday, Saturday, Sundays, haven't we? With the odd Thursday thrown in there, but certainly never a Tuesday tea time.
Yeah, you got Junto's fighting. I think it's October. They've got the back-to-back nights, and the other Inoue's headlining one, and Junto Nakatani's headlining the other. What do you think? I'm going to ask a couple more questions. Is there any clamor for a Junto Nakatani versus Inoue fight from you guys? Obviously, Junto's down at Bantam at the minute. Inoue's destined for 126 at some point by the looks of it. You know, is there any? I think Inoue would smash him, to be honest with you. But
it's too big a jump too soon. If he jumps up to fight him now, the weight difference is too much, and I think Inoue would just smash him to bits. And then in 2 or 3 years' time, Inoue's going to be 30. What is he here now? 30.
Yeah.
Like that. I don't want to see that fight because they're not at the right part.
Yeah, same with Bam, isn't it? Same with Bam Rodriguez. It's the same because they're talking about Bam and Inoue at one point. Like, but Bam and Nakatani, I think could be the fight.
Yeah, that's easier to make as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like the Junto versus Inoue fight. I could see why they would want to do it. It's, you know, massive in Japan, but I don't think Naoya Inoue has much clamor for that fight. Him on a personal level himself either, to be honest with you, but. I'll come back then to Inoue Doheny. I'll get a final prediction. I'll give mine at the end. We'll go to Jay's fight talk first of all.
I'll stick with my original prediction. I'll probably change my mind in the morning, but I'm going. I'll go round 6. I said between 5 and 7. I'll go round 6 TKO body shot. Being a little bit specific.
A little body shot. A little Diego Pacheco
I've copied that.
Liam Tully, how do we see Naoya Inoue and TJ Doheny going?
I'll stick to my original prediction. I think Inoue will get him out of there between 4 and 6. Not going to predict headshot or body shot, but I will say TKO between 4 and 6. Maybe I'll have a more specific prediction in the morning when I'm on with Jay, but for now I stick with between 4 and 6 for Inoue.
Yeah, well, I personally think that it's going to be an absolute demolition job for Inoue. I don't think at 37 TJ Doheny's going to be able to take the shots of Naoya Inoue. I think we need to remember that, yes, although Doheny is kept good company, anytime he's stepped up to the highest level in the sport, he's lost. Okay, yes, he hasn't been knocked out, but he's lost to the likes of Beluta. He's lost to the likes of Michael Conlan. You know, we've seen what's happened to those guys in more recent times when they fought up and above levels. You know, Daniel Romanike, fair enough, he's not quite the fighter he used to be, but, you know, he lost to him too. But TJ Doheny's a tough guy, but Naoya Inoue's not like the rest of the other guys that he's lost to. Naoya Inoue's not Michael Conlan. He's not Beluta. He's not Daniel Roman. He's not, who else has he lost to? Give me another one. He's lost to a couple more. He's not Sam Goodman. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Naoya Inoue, he's not those guys. He punches a hell of a lot harder than every single one of those people. So it could be a little bit deceiving. You know, Michael Conlan is definitely not a puncher. Sam Goodman's definitely not a huge puncher. You know, there's a lot of people on that record. Daniel Roman was definitely not a big puncher. Not one person there really is a huge puncher. He's 37 years old. He's been through a lot of wars during his career. I just honestly don't see how, like, Inoue, fair enough, maybe a round or two he's going to feel him out. He's going to just have a little look, you know, maybe. But the minute that he season opening, the minute he touches TJ Doheny, I just do not see a world in which he's able to take it, whether he's not been stopped or not. He's 37. He's been through a load of wars. You know, Inoue's better in every aspect than TJ Doheny, and he's a hell of a lot more powerful. I think I'd be surprised if it sees the 4th round. I honestly will. I think it's going to be an absolute demolition job.
I think we're saying between rounds 4 and 6, aren't we? Between us, the fight, end, basically.
One more thing, just quickly, boys, if that's all right. For me, it would not at all surprise me if we saw Inoue do what he done against Jamie McDonald back in 2018, I think it was, where he absolutely came out and blitzed him in the round.
Leave my pal alone. Jamie McDonald's the man. He slipped.
Yeah. He said he never heard of Inoue. That was a good one. He said he never heard of Inoue. He's going to do a job on him, and then now look at where Inoue is. Yeah, it was unlocked. Jamie just caught a bad one that night. You know, that was
man. I'm not having
as much as I hate saying that. I could see a similar vibe of Inoue just coming out and completely bulldozing through tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, thanks for embarrassing.
Yeah, horrible to say about a Brit, but
it was an early stoppage.
Sorry, Jamie. He's not going to come on now, is he?
It was an early stoppage.
Yeah,
but I get what you mean. We could see. Inoue might have the bit between his teeth. He might be pissed off that people are questioning this for being a walkover, and he might go,
pound
all
for
right.
Pound debate too, Jay. He wants to put a rubber stamp on this pound for pound debate.
Yeah, and he might just smash him to bits. You know.
Yeah.
Good luck to both men. May the best man win, which we're all thinking is Inoue. I anticipate a good performance, irrespective of how it goes. Inoue is never really in a dull fight, is he? You know, even when he's been taking the distance, you're always on the edge of your seat because of the power. No, just going back to what you were saying about Doheny not facing a puncher like Inoue. Nobody has. He's an anomaly. There isn't anybody.
That's a fair point. That is a very good point.
There's only Bam down anywhere near his weight division that hits anywhere near as hard. Nobody hits like that in them divisions. It's like Prince Nassim at featherweight was knocking fools dead. You know, we'd never seen that before, during, or after, really. There's no featherweights to this day really hit like that, really. You know, Tank if it had stuck around. But, yeah, for me, I think we'll see how the fight's going to go when he gets hit properly, what kind of reaction he has to being smacked properly. It may just take his legs from underneath him. We don't know that. But, yeah, he's never... No one's ever faced a puncher like Inoue down there. No one.
Yeah, big up Jabbit. We've got over in 6. Doheny will give it a go for 2 or 3 rounds. Once Inoue touches him, the monster will awaken, get the smell for blood. Yeah, completely agree with that, Jobs.
We're all around about the same, aren't we?
Yeah, I've definitely not seen one pick online for TJ Doheny. I really haven't. I haven't seen one person, and rightfully so in my mind, to be honest with you. Like, at the end of the day, it's ultimately, and I use it lightly, it's a stay busy fight. It really is. Like, it's a showcase fight, really, for Inoue to fight in front of his fans. Like I've said many a time, I said it on last week's show, if it's a choice between Inoue sitting out till December and not fighting, or a case of Inoue fighting TJ Doheny in front of his people and giving us a chance to watch arguably the best fighter in the sport and definitely the most exciting fighter in the sport, then give me Inoue versus TJ Doheny all day long. I really don't get the scrutiny behind it at all, to be honest with you. The man's fighting it. He's fought a who's who. If the MJ fight didn't come to fruition, for me, it's political. It's definitely not because Inoue doesn't want the fight. He would want that fight, and he would destroy MJ in my eyes, even though I do rate MJ very highly. You know, the guy's special to watch, and anytime we get to see him fight, which probably won't be too many more times, maybe 5 more max, I would say. Yeah, but you know, I couldn't see him having, you know, ultimately in the lower weight classes, which he is. You know, we can't just keep moving up every 4 or 5 fights, and you know, it's going to catch up with your body at some point. You know, he's a superstar in Japan. He can probably do what he wants, multi-millionaire. So, you know, let's enjoy the guy while he's here. You know, his strength of schedule, everything he does. He's not a brash guy. You know, he does his business and does his talking in the ring.
I've never heard him speak. I don't think I've ever heard him speak.
Yeah. No. He does his talking.
I'm not trying to be funny.
No, you're not. No.
I've never heard the geezer speak.
Yeah, well, obviously he doesn't do anything in English, I don't think. So, yeah, he'd probably do his interviews in Japanese and that kind of thing. So,
is not what it was.
I was relying on you for translations tomorrow, mate.
No, it's Mandarin I speak, mate, unfortunately.
Well, Jay's Fight Talk will be bringing the watch along in Mandarin tomorrow. Yeah, if that's anything further to add, guys, before I do the outro.
No, not for me. I think we've covered it all. I'm just I'm excited. I'm even more so excited now we've got together and discussed it. I'm looking forward to it. Really.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. So yeah, thanks to everybody who's joined us for today. We've had about 30, 40 different viewers. That was brilliant. Thanks to everybody who's got involved. I'll just do a few shout outs. Go follow Jabbit Boxing, one of the best in the game. Also Mr. Håkan Johansson, another one, absolute legend. DJ Pat as well, massive legend. Thanks to Martina Clark for the contribution as well. And thanks to everybody. Liam's laughing. Thanks to everybody else who's joined us. Catch the live watch along tomorrow on Jay's Fight Talk. It'll be with Jay and Liam. Links will be going out on X. Make sure you follow Jay's Fight Talk at Jay's Fight Talk on X and at Liam _Tully 9. I always get it wrong, don't I? I got it right. And then lastly, but not surely, same time tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. on this YouTube channel, SW Fight Hub, episode 3 of the No Punches Pulled podcast. So we'll be doing a review, obviously, of Inoue versus Doheny, and also we'll cover any of the latest boxing news that's going on right now. And let's be honest, there's all sorts going on every single day. That's why all of us stay on X for 15 hours every day and get in trouble, because I do anyway. But we'll see you at 7:30 tomorrow. Go check out Jay's Fight Talk for the watch along. Thanks to everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you later.
Tomorrow.